Yeah, hello everybody, and it's Friday the 9th of October and 2009, and it's late on in the evening, and I just wanted to talk about a couple of things if I could. The first thing I wanted to talk about, I'm going to put it up, I put a little link for you down here, you can see it, and then what I'll do is it relates to our external debt, Ireland's external debt. So this is the latest release from the Central Statistics Office on the 30th of September, and because there are always a couple of months, that obviously you have to draw these things up. So this relates back to the end of June, but it makes for very interesting reading. Basically what it tells you is that over a period of about 9 months, because the earliest that they go back to in this is 9 months before, on the 30th of September 2008, the gross external debt was 1.7 trillion. Okay, and they've now got it down to 1.688 trillion. So something like, well, you can have a look at the figures yourself and you can see it. I don't know what that is, 12.7. It's about 19 billion they knocked off the national debt. So if we continue going along this route, we'll be at this for the next I don't know how long, it'll be a long time, maybe 50 years. But anyway, that's another day's work. Just what's interesting about it is you can you can see how the economists whiz tails with figures. Anyway, first of all, you can see that the general government, which is the day-to-day running of the government, has gone up by 20 billion from September of 2008. And this thing called the Monetary Authority, it has increased its indebtedness by 25 billion up until now, approximately now, at the end of June, it was 103 billion. And they are the National Treasury Management Agency, and they run NAMA. They're the bosses of NAMA. And down below them you can see the next listing is for monetary and financial institutions, which is to tell you what it is, they're banks, retail and commercial banks. Okay? And a strange tale to behold there. They owed almost 800 billion at the 30th of September 2008. And what do they owe now? They only owe 690 billion euros. So they divested themselves almost of 110 billion euros. And guess where approximately 80 of it came from? The Monetary Authority, who borrowed it in our name and give it to the banks, or are holding it in NAMA to give it to the banks. Anyway, down below it's another thing which is a fascinating thing, and that's other sectors. And this other sectors, I'm going to tell you what they're about. This other sectors are hedge funds and financial investment funds based in the financial services sector. And when this came up for the first time about 6 months ago, or 3 or 4 months ago, I emailed this crowd in the Central Statistics. They're very, very nice, I must say. And I asked them could they explain what type of assets, because it did say, there was a little one-liner put in, and it said that the overall foreign financial liabilities which were held in the financial services sector, the financial enterprises down there, were offset by Irish residents' holding of foreign financial assets. And I asked them, could they explain what type of asset class these were? Were they commodities? Were they treasuries? Were they equities? What were they? And I got this most convoluted email back, really unbelievable, real, like a senior economist drafted this, not an ordinary guy drafted this, senior economist drafted this, and it was completely confusing. So I wrote back to him and I just said, look, I just want you to answer me one question. You have the figures, I don't. I said I was doing an article for this, which was a white lie, but I presume YouTube is an article. I didn't want to tell him I was doing it for YouTube. I said, how much of these so-called foreign financial assets that you claim Irish citizens are holding are derivatives? What percentage? of this, whatever it was then, 600, it was the same amount, it was around 620 billion. Much of these are derivatives. I didn't word it like that. I said these AAA rated derivatives, you know, by Fitches and these sort of credit agencies, international credit agencies. Yeah, I never got a word back for obvious reasons. So let's hope that derivatives market holds up, because if it doesn't, there'll be blood on the street there. This crowd hold 624 billion. That's half a trillion euros worth of these derivatives. Or well, maybe I don't know what percentage it is, but say even half, it's a colossal amount of money. So it just makes for interesting reading and gives you an idea of what's going on. So they have borrowed the money for NAMA. The NAMA money is borrowed, and the NAMA money has been either allocated secretly or whatever. But the banks have managed to get their liabilities down by a great amount. And as I say, it just makes for very, very interesting reading. The next thing I just want to talk about is the top earners at RTE, and just a little article that appeared. And again, I'll put the link up to it down here. It's in the Irish Times. It's tomorrow's Irish Times, but they put it up about 9 o'clock this evening, and it basically tells you what these 10 people who are their 10 leading presenters earn. And last year they earned between them 4.3 million euros. So the next time you see Pat Kenny on RTE, you think about Pat Kenny as Pat Kenny. Pat Kenny's earning what he did last year. He earned almost €1 million. That's 20 grand a week. Okay? Jerry Ryan, that loudmouth Jerry Ryan, he earned 629. That's about 12 or 13,000 euros. And Marianne Finucane, I'm told outside Ireland, nobody will talk about it in Ireland, but I'm told outside Ireland, she's one of the leading players in Opus Dei here in Ireland. She earned 570,000. That's about 10 or 11 grand a week. And this Rand Tubridy, he earns 533. It's another 10 grand a week. And Joe Duffy, he earns 8 grand a week, 408,000. A fellow called Derek Mooney, he earns 5 grand a week, 5.5 grand a week. And then somebody called Sean O'Rourke, I don't know who he is. He earns he earns 4 grand a week. And then Eamon Dunphy, we all know who Eamon Dunphy is. He earned 328,000. That's 6 grand a week. And then George Hamilton, I don't know who he is. He earned 4 grand a week. And John Kelly, he earned 4 grand a week. It's nice work if you can get it. It's nice work if you can get it. So next time you see those boys on the TV or you hear them on the radio, forget about what you think of. That's how much they're earning. So you know what hymn sheet they're singing off. And the final thing I just want to make a comment about, which I can't believe. I think the word is on. Definitely they're taking something. I think the whole world's on bromide or something on their tea. I don't know what's happening. Barack Obama's getting the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know. This is a man who's going to commit 40,000 troops to Afghanistan. A man who's I don't know how many American soldiers would have died. I certainly know one thing. Never mind about how many have died, but a huge amount of them seriously injured in that Afghanistan and that Iraq under his tutelage, when he was captain of the ship. And I know he's only been in position for a year, but he promised lots of things. This Guantanamo Bay thing is still going on. This torturing of people is still in a grey area. This flying people all around the world to manoeuvre them and expose them to all sorts of abuse. It's unbelievable. And they give this man the Nobel laureate. I don't know. Anyway, we speak more about it. Good luck. Bye.